Hello everyone, my name is Queen Elizondo and thank you for joining us for this episode of Wesleyan Talks. Today we are here with Jamal Williams and June Johnson. June and Jamal, will you tell me a little bit about your lives?
Sure. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, born and raised. Joined the Army in 1982, so I'm U.S. Army retired after 20 years. Then I came to Texas Wesleyan once I got out of the Army. I came here for a degree in history. I thought I wanted to teach history. I love history, so quite naturally, they didn't have African American studies. So I decided to go to Library Science School. So I went to Texas Women after I graduated from here in 2006. And I got my master's in library science at Texas Women University in 2011. And I love February. I wish every month could be Black History Month. But really in my life, every month is Black History Month. I celebrate Black history 365 days a year.
Jamal Williams. I'm the director of Collegiate Partnership here at Texas Wesleyan University. I've been here about, I think, 4 years now. I grew up here in Fort Worth. I'm a product of Fort Worth ISD. My undergraduate degree is in psychology. I went to the University of North Texas, master's degree in counseling down at the University of Houston, and finishing up my doctoral degree at Tarleton State. My background has been in higher education for the last 10 years. Really just been working in student support and college access over that time. For me, Black history, I think Ms. June nailed it perfectly. It's not a month for me. It's 12 months, 365 days. It's every second. We are living, breathing moments of Black history. As the saying goes, we are our ancestors' wildest dreams. We are, because each moment that we continue to make an impact on our community and get up and just live, we are making Black history by just looking at from our ancestor standpoint.
Yes.
They could never imagine the point that we would be able to have an opportunity to talk about our culture on a television show from where they came from to this point.
Have you experienced any adversity in your life that you've had to overcome?
Yeah, I think one of the things, yes, definitely have experienced adversity. I think one of the things you have to pick and choose your battles in this area. Definitely being an African American male, I've learned to figure out that every nail does not need to be hammered, right? Some of them just need to be educated, right? And then as you educate them, sometimes they hammer themselves. So we have to sometimes, when we look at the adversity we have to frame it in a piece of being able to, like I said, educate the individuals that are involved. Then there are opportunities where you're going to have to stand up and make an impact and a difference. I know one time when we were in undergrad, we had an incident where a fraternity on campus made racist chants to some Black recruits in the student union. And we had to let the institution know that if we're going to say that we are a diverse institution and that we pride all students are here, that we shouldn't let organizations make people coming to our institution who are visiting feel ashamed and feel threatened and feel called out their name. So we had to work on a group, and we protested. And the result of that protest, that fraternity was actually removed from the campus. So you have to pick and choose your opportunities when you're going to have to fight.
Okay. Speaking of educating others, are there any outreach programs that you want to speak about that you participate in?
Sure, I'm advisor for the BSA students here at Texas Wesleyan, Black Students Association. And also in my community, I try to really mentor young boys and girls at the public library in Arlington, because I think them seeing faces that look like them will impact them going forward. If you never see a higher ed or a person that look like you, I mean, it's food for thought. Why I don't see any Black educators? I mean, they're here, but you don't see them like you do the other races. So I think it's important to get out there in the community and do what you can to let them know it is higher education. Things have changed compared when I was born. I'm a product of the 60s, early 60s, matter of fact, 1960. So we're just coming out of civil rights movement.
Yeah, I think Ms. Jen is right. I think, my background, like I said, my background working in higher education, the key is that representation it matters. So what we try to do at all times is to let others, I always try to, be out on the campus and let other students of color see that there are staff members and faculty members here of color. I try to talk to as many people as I can. One of the things I had the director of the African American Cultural Center the Multicultural Center at North Texas, and at that time, UNT probably had about 7 to 8% African American students on there, and she would historically say, it's too few of y'all walking around campus not to speak to each other. And I think about that just like here at Texas Wesleyan. It is not that many African American students where we can't not walk past each other and not speak. We should be able to speak to each of the students who are here, either it's a head nod or just, hey, how you doing? Because there's not a lot of us here, right? And we should have a network, so we should be able to connect it and be able to see each other when we're there. As for community organizations, I'm a proud card-carrying member of the NAACP, the Tarrant County chapter. I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, the oldest Black Greek letter fraternity in the world. We've really been excited about just being involved in other entities through Leadership Fort Worth, Leadership ISD that works with advocacy in school districts. So just being a part of some of those groups in the Fort Worth Black Chamber, being a part of those groups and being able to advocate for the African Americans in this community has really been a privilege for me in growing up in the city of Fort Worth.
Speaking of representation, are there any personal role models that you have?
I'll say for me, both of my parents are educators, so they've always been my role models in everything that I do. I think for my mom and my dad, one thing they've always said is, they just said, put Christ first and everything else will follow. But also they've really instilled in me is that your hard work will be a representation of yourself. So if people hear about your work and what you do, then you're known by your work, then they'll have a very understanding about who this person is. So we try to make and unfortunately, even with that, it's kind of like the motto we've had in the Black community, right? Is that we have to work twice as hard to get just as far. And sometimes when we look at that motto, it's like, why do I have to work extra hard? Why do I have to work extra hard? And it's hard sometimes doing it in the process, but on this side, I'm very thankful for that opportunity that they've instilled in me to help me understand about why you have to work just twice as hard. So me trying to instill that in my daughters now has been difficult, right? Because they're like, I don't want to do it. But I know on the other end, once they get a perspective of looking back, they'll know that hard work paid off and benefited and was needed.
If I had to pick a role model, which I do, her name is Brenda Norwood, who I was telling you, the young lady. She's not young anymore. But she's a retired school teacher from Mansfield ISD. She's now having a school this year named after her, Brenda K. Norwood Elementary School. And so when I retired from the Army, one of the first questions she asked me, why did you move to Mansfield? Because she was like, it is still racist here. But at the same time, I was like, what? But she shared so much with me about her background as a child. And she, even though I was an adult when I met her, she just made me to be proud of who I am and my skin tone. Because she has the same skin tone as I have. And she said, you never let nobody tell you what you can't do and what you cannot be. Because, when I met her, I was retired from the Army. I had to grow up, and I was like, what I'm going to do? And that's how I ended up coming to Wesleyan. Because she said, go where you want to go.
I'll add that I did have a mentor in undergraduate, professor by the name of Francis Terrell. And one of the things he did all the time is he would always invite, he's like, you got to come to my office. You always come to my office. And he was a little odd. and so I would go to his office, and, one of the things he did, he poured into me. He's like, you're going to be a psychology major. You're going to have to get your doctorate. So he helped me understand the vision and pathway of where I needed to be at and where I wanted to go before I could even see it. And I think a lot of times that we have to do for our students here is that it's not that we're talking down to you or trying to tell you what to do, but we want to try to help you put insight into where we see yourself in the future. And if we can kind of take some of those obstacles out of the way now, it's going to help you not have to fight some of those roadblocks in. Because my perspective, if I would have listened to him, I'd already be doctor. I'd be Dr. Williams for the last 15 years because he would have told me you need to he told me then, he said, just when you graduate, just apply to the doctoral program. I'll get you through. But me, I said, I ain't going back to school. I ain't got time for this. I'm not about to do a doctorate degree. But if I would have listened to him, I would have cleared all those obstacles and roadblocks out of the way because I would have had somebody that's been able to walk me through that entire doctoral process.
Okay. Are there any traditions or events happening this month that you guys want to talk about?
Sure.
So this year, one of the things we've been really trying to do, since I've been here at Wesleyan for 4 years, Ms. June's been here just a little bit longer than me.
15.
15. And one of the things we've talked about through BSA is that we wanted to continue to do more to celebrate Black History Month. There's a rich history in the Poly neighborhood and the East Forward neighborhood, connection to the Black community. So through Black Student Association and the Diversity and Inclusion Council, I think we had, our first one, we kind of had a soul food, healthy soul food cooking thing one year during February. Last year, we had Dale Long, who is a long-term mentor, come speak.
That's great.
Yeah, he's a great speaker. He was actually in the church in Birmingham that blew up with the church in Birmingham that was bombed by the Klan, where the 4 little girls of Alabama passed away. And he was actually in the church with his brother, and he survived it. So he talks about it. Last year, he got to talk about his experiences through that. This year, we had a speaker that discussed political engagement, and then we'll have our last Black History program next Wednesday, where the oldest running Black community meeting is going to have their meeting here on campus. The Minorities, Leaders, and Citizen Council, they'll actually have their weekly meeting here on campus. And we're going to talk about diversity and inclusion then and now. So we got the chief of diversity and inclusion from Fort Worth ISD. We have the founder of the Jubilee Theater that's going to be there, Miss Marion Eastman. We also have Mia Moss, the owner of the new Black Coffee. And we have Mark Whitten, who is the producer of Visit Fort Worth. And they just launched a new cultural video.
Is there anything that you wish more people knew about Black history or any fun facts you want to share?
One thing I would like to share right quick and make it to the point, Black Students Association here is not for Black students only. It's a diverse group, although it's Black Students Association, but we would like to see all minorities join this group, or even Caucasian. It's just students in general. But we really want it to be known that Black students do have a voice here on campus, but we represent all students, not just African American students.
Good to know.
I would piggyback on even what Ms. June is saying. I think BSA is open for everybody to participate. But what I think, which would be really good, that PSA could be a catalyst for, is the Black Student Association can be the launching ground for the Hispanic Student Society, right? Or the Pacific Asian Islander Club. I think the minority student voice is not a monolith, right? There are different cultures, there's different identities, there's different races within that. And I think the thing I see is that if they just have BSA, which is cool, but there needs to be a platform for Hispanic students. There needs to be a platform for Asian students. There needs to be a platform for, even for international students to have an opportunity to speak. And as we start having these organizations come together, now you create a diversity in, you could create a minority student council. So now we have targeted groups to programming together, right? Mm-hmm. So we don't have to think about the Diversity Inclusion Council is not the one spearheading or pushing, Black History Month. Now you have, hey, we can go to the Asian Pacific Islander group. So when April comes up, we can work with that student organization and they can have this month. We can go with BSA and they can lead the charge. The thing about universities that I've learned the most about, the charge and the initiative has to come from the students, right?
Yes.
Because if it comes from the staff, it's just like what you've had in high school. It's teachers leading us, administrators leading us. But if we think about Black history, how did the civil rights movement get started? It was a grassroots effort. SNCC was this grassroots student effort. Student effort that got the civil rights movement launching off the ground. And I tell the students all the time, the power is in the students. If you see something that you want to see happen and change on a campus, you can put your voice to it and be a collective entity to make that happen. So I really want to see that during Black History Month, in all months, is that the civic and social engagement for our students on campus needs to increase a little bit, because there are issues and things that are affecting them that they may not think about, but they can have a voice of change to it and be able to resonate across the campus and change for various generations to come.
Okay. And I would love for you to invite our officers for BSA to come back and speak with you, because you'll find out you're going to see a diverse group of young students that you'll be speaking with.
Thank you for joining us today, June and Jamal. That's all for this episode of Wesleyan Talks. Be sure to join us next time. I am Queen Elizondo.